You said originally you want how we came to Krishna consciousness. So I guess one of the, generally you think of Hare Krishna people, you think of white hippies, isn't it? I mean, especially in India, you see that people have probably decided they're looking at it, really, because you're white. I guess, I don't know. Anyway, so a few of the African Americans joined, and I think what led up to that, my family I grew up in was, I don't know, they're pretty liberal. That's like in the 50s and the 60s when all the segregation was there. But my mother worked with the Bureau of American Indian Affairs, which is a pretty liberal group, and we would live near all these areas where the Indians had their reservations. So generally we're pretty isolated. There's maybe 10, 20 families out in the middle of the desert. If we saw one car a day, that was a big deal. My car! We're so isolated. So we were the only black family in that area, as a matter of fact. But they were liberal, so we were kind of isolated from all the things that are going on in the U.S., the segregation and all these things. So, but, anyway, so from that background, we moved to Gary, Indiana, which is up north where it was all the segregation problems were there, You couldn't go to the beach, you couldn't do this or that, all these other things. So people were like bitter. And actually we were so isolated. Somehow or another, we thought we were the only black people in the world, I think. Like it's just sort of we're kids, Because you never see any, they're on TV or anything, and the relatives never come to visit us. So we actually were kind of proud, like, yeah, you guys, you're not, so, the opposite. And so I remember my mother's telling, you're gonna go live with near our relatives. Like, yeah, okay, we can see our cousins, and I can't wait. So it's like 5-6 day drive across the country. Finally, we get on the street where our house is, and the whole street is all black people. First time I've seen other black people. My grandparents came. And my brother and I look at each other and go, oh my God, look at all these cousins we have. I said, those aren't your cousins? What? Oh, okay. It was such a shock. So we grew up like that. So then, you get there and now they're immediately, because we grew up in a white neighborhood, so we talk like that. So they didn't like that. You're like white people, all the strife. So we didn't grow up with all this, division, and so that made it pretty easy to become a devotee as a result. So, when we were young, as we got older, my brother and I, we were always inquisitive. I remember that all the time. Who are we? Where did we come from? Why am I born like this? You see the neighbors, like, man, he's got father, they got more stuff than we have. Why couldn't I have been born over there? Why didn't I get this family? And my mother was Christian, so she would take us to church. And they couldn't, of course they can't answer these questions. They said, why is God hiding from us? I don't know. What does he look like? I don't know. Nobody knows. Why does he send us to hell forever? I didn't ask to be created in the first place, and then he sends me to hell forever? Why didn't he just uncreate me? I can remember saying, why didn't he just uncreate me? Just disassemble it. It's broken. Why torture you forever? You can't ask those questions. And what I'm coming to freaking church for, you know? It's like, what's the point? You tell me, don't do this, don't do that. All the things that you enjoy are sinful, and you shouldn't do it or you go to hell. You know, I forget this stuff, so. But, you know, we were always, really always, then, you know, at that time, I think the first exposure in that area where we live was they call it the Black Muslims came out. I don't know if you heard of Elijah Muhammad, you know, the Farrakhan. Well, it wasn't Farrakhan in those days, it was Elijah Muhammad. But he was more political, radical. And he took the bent of, if you know, why are you black people following the white man's religion? They enslaved you, and then you follow their religion? What is this? You know, the Muslim religion is from Africa. That's where you're from. You should be Muslims. People are like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know. So they're all people becoming, you know, Muslims as a result. So I mean, we went to one of the meetings. Let's see what they got to say, you know. And it was really, this is after Martin Luther King had been assassinated. So it's really radical now. The white people are devils, and they're this. And we're sitting there like, oh my God, what's happening? You know, and if you don't join, that means you're part of the devil too. You know, it's like, can we go now? Can we go? I got out of there. So the day I finally got a book, I remember I was like 16 years old. My brother had just finished high school, and he was in the university. And we used to go on the roof of our house sometimes and just look up at the stars and just, you know, try to guess, okay, what about this, what about that, that. And finally, I remember we were just so frustrated, like, why can't we know? I just want to know. How come we can't know what, you know, what is this all about? And I don't know, it seemed like maybe it was the next day, he comes back home and he's got Back to Godhead magazine. And he tells me, he said, you won't believe it, read this. And he gives me the Back to Godhead magazine. Somehow or another, the devotees, this is like 1971. The devotees are doing Harinam. And I'm surprised, I'm not really surprised, but you know, in those days, nobody would approach, you know, these guys in bed sheets, king, 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 and most people run away. I'm not crazy people that want to speak and take a magazine. And he brought the magazine home, and I read it, and it was, everything was explained. This is what God looks like. This is why you took birth. This is how you avoid all this mess if you do these things. And I was like, I said, this is it. This is it. I said, you have to get more books. Get more books. So then he came back with Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, the really big hardbound one. And surprisingly, he bought it in the bookstore. They were still selling them in the bookstores. And I did the best I could to read that, but you know, I couldn't really pronounce, you know, all the words, Arjuna, Krishna. I just kind of skip over it and just keep reading. And he brought Beyond Birth and Death, I think Perfection of Yoga. And then by the time I was 17, I graduated from high school. And I don't know why I never thought to go to the temple. We live very far from Chicago, so it was no question of really, the thought never entered my mind, go to the temple. I don't know why. But I'm going to go to school in New York. And so I go into the airport, and I finally see devotees for the first time. In those days, they sold the books and the devotees in the airport. So, you know, I've been reading the books all the time. I see it, I was like, oh, it's the man in the book. I can't believe it. I was in awe. I was shocked. I just stood and I'm looking at him, and there's a brahmachari, I can't remember his name. Anyway, he walks up to me, and he's real new. He does, because he sells me a Krishna book and walks off. I would have probably bought everything he had. I probably would have went to the temple, but I was too shy to say anything. I was just like, okay, you know. And I was massive, man, he's giving this to everybody. I can't believe it. And I bought the Krishna book from him. And so then I get to New York. I did a semester at Juilliard School of Music. I was into music at that time. But you know, as you start reading the books, everything changes. You know what I mean? You even when I was at home, we tried to follow, say, don't eat meat, don't do all these things. And of course, you're at home, what are you going to do? I never heard of vegetarian before this. Never heard of vegetarian, never heard of India, never thought about any of these things at all, in the least bit. So it's shocking. Not so shocking to me after reading it, but especially to my parents and everybody else. I told them we're not going to eat meat anymore. They're like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? You're going to die. Isn't it? Everybody thought that you don't eat meat, you die. I'm like, no, I don't care. It says right here, you shouldn't do that because of this and this and this. No. So I'm taking you to the doctor. The doctor, I remember, he's really stern talking, son, listen to me. That you said that little food pyramid. You have to eat these things, and if you don't eat these things, and this is going to happen to you. And I'm like, no, I don't care. No, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. So my mother says, fine, I'm not cooking any more vegetables, so you'll have to eat meat. You'll have to eat meat. And I remember she would cook the things that really like, right? And like, shh. My brother was too lazy. He liked the philosophy, but he was like, nah, I'm not doing all that stuff. You can forget it. I ain't going to do all those things. So I was on my own. I was on my own. Anyway, I get to New York and I get Krishna book. That was nice. I used to read that all the time. That cover was beautiful. I remember the old blue one with the Krishna on the front. So eventually I did visit the Brooklyn temple, but it was very far. I lived in Queens with my aunt. And I'm from a small town. Now I'm in New York, so I never adjusted to New York. It was too much for me. It's way too much. You're on the train, and you're by yourself, and it's dark and lonely. And I went to the Sunday feast. I almost moved in at that time, almost did. And I just, and a few months later, I returned back to Gary. And my mother is like, okay, you're going to have to go to school. You cannot just... And I was like, no, I don't want to go to school. I just want to be a devotee. He said, no, you're going to... So she enrolled me in Purdue University in West Lafayette. And somehow or another, I got it arranged so that I didn't get a room in the dormitory. So I said, well, there's no room in the dormitory, so I don't have to go to school. I'm getting you an apartment. I was like, oh, man. I was so disappointed. I remember I was like, dang, God, it's so... So I go down there and I get the apartment, not realizing what it means to have an apartment in a college town, right? Every night somebody's like knocking on the door with something, drugs, this, you name it. It was almost every night some different kind of sense gratification, whatever you wanted to experience. It's like Krishna says, okay, here, go ahead and experience the material world. You want to try all these things? Here you go. You can have all you like. I was so burnt out after that. Because after a while, I'm not going to class anymore because every night is some party in my house. You can, So finally I said, that's it. I'm going to move in the temple. This is right near Thanksgiving break. So I pick up the phone and I call, I look for and back to God is, Chicago's the closest place. So I call Chicago and I say, I want to be a devotee. What do you have to do? And the devotee says, okay, come to the temple. I said, okay, I'll be there. And he hangs the phone up. Nobody preached in those days. They don't preach. To me, that meant move in. That's what I thought, move in. Okay. So I called my mother. I said, look, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm moving into the temple. She says, no, you're not. You're going to finish school, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that. I said, oh, man. So I called my brother because he's going to bring me back home for Thanksgiving. And I said, look, you're going to take me to this address. He said, nah, I'm not going to do that. You heard what mother said. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get in all kind of... I said, you can have all my things. I had all the, guitars, all this musical equipment. He goes, okay, I'll take you. I'll take you to the temple. So we go home for Thanksgiving. I spend that weekend trying to tell my friends, trying to convince my friends too. Such demons, They couldn't do it. All they could see was, those are white people. Those are white people. I said, listen to what I'm trying to tell you. You're not the body, okay? Just listen to what I'm talking about. Like, nah, this is white people. I might have nothing to do with that because they're... So I said, what is wrong? People can't understand this. Everybody, because I would talk to people all the time. I put my books out so they see them. Nobody would accept it. Not a single person. Even my uncle, when he was trying to talk to me, he was a principal of a high school, and he's giving me the sauce, and I don't know much. I said, look, you take this Bhagavad Gita and read it, and then let's talk afterwards. And he did. And the next time we talked, I don't know how long ago, maybe a month later or something, and he told me very frankly, he says, you know, everything it says in that book is true, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But he never harassed me again about it. You know, at least he was honest. Yeah, that to me, that's honest. I accept it, but I'm not going to do it. I can accept it, but don't make, you know, try to deny it's true. It's the most logical thing. So finally, he takes me to the temple, you know, and I go buy all this t-shirts and underwear. I'm thinking, let me buy some things for the devotees. And I go on the Sunday feast. Right after the Sunday feast, they take me to the temple president. And so I call on the phone, and I said I want to be a devotee. So they said, come to the temple. So here I am. And he starts talking to me. He says, you don't know enough to be here. You can't stay in the temple. You have to visit for a while. I said, why didn't he tell me that on the phone? I'm 200 miles away from where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be in West Lafayette. Now you're telling me I can't stay? You know, what is this? You know, it's like, what, man? I was really offended. I was like, God, these people don't think I can do this. He says, okay, well, you can stay, but you can't shave your head. And the other black devotee there, he was Bhakta Ratni, but it's Rama Kelly later. He says, come get this boy and take him with you. So, you know, devotees were really hardcore in those days. You coming with me, you know? And he's like, okay. And he'd take me to, you know, in those days, Chicago was YMCA in Evanston. And old building, I mean, it was, I'm like, man, look at this place. You know, no furniture, no nothing. They go into the swimming pool in this field with the Rath Yatra cart, and they got lockers along the side. And, you know, okay, you put your stuff in there, and you're going to sleep over there on the side of the swimming pool. And they start going through my things. Hey, you don't need this, and it's just, you know, I just bought that stuff. They're throwing it all away. This, you don't need any of that. I'll keep that one because I can use that. And here's your 2 strips for underwear. Here's what you wear now. You wear this, and I'm like, man, okay, I want to be a devotee, so I guess I have to do it, you know. Okay, now you go take a shower, put that stuff on. Now you come with me. Take me to the kitchen. I'm talking, not even the night's not over. That's after the Sunday feast, I guess. And he takes me in the kitchen. You're going to wash all those pots. This is the first day. I had never seen pots like that. And I never washed dishes. My mother, she liked me. I could get out of all those chores. I didn't like washing dishes or anything. You're going to wash all those. I said, how do you wash it? Look at it. You just wash it. You understand me? That's what you do. You don't just say, hey, and the sink's like this big, right? And the pots are like, I'm like, oh, man. And you get every one of them black spots off. And you, okay, fine. I'm in there too. I'm like, lay down, go to sleep. All of a sudden, you know, get up for morning program. You know, go take your shower, you know, no hot water, because he's cut the hot water knobs off. That's sense gratification. No hot water. Everything was like, you know, such a, sit down, okay, now they show me how to chant japa. I don't know why. I read all those books, but I never knew you were supposed to chant Hare Krishna. I didn't know that. I think because I would skip over. I see the things I couldn't read, I just skip it and keep going. You know? So I'm sitting, okay, let me try to start chanting. And you coming with me. I said, they told me, I said, don't you worry about that japa. You coming with me now. Take me back to the kitchen. What, you washing those pots? Oh, man. Like, God. I said, okay, I want to be a devotee, so I guess you have to do it. But what impressed me the most, I remember joining, was, you know, the place, it was so ecstatic, you know. You know, we had like Trip Roy, he was a brahmachari at the time, had all the big book distributors, and everybody was just, the energy was just like, I remember thinking, whatever they're doing, boy, that's what I'm going to do. It's just, you could just feel it. It was like, wow. Go through all that, blah, 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 come down. Now it's time for prasadam to eat. And they had a system there, and if you were new, they had pecking order. You remember that? Brahmins, first initiates, bhaktas. So I'm the new guy. That means you serve. You serve immediately. Yeah, you don't eat. All the new people serve. You don't, you know, and you get what's left over. So anyway, server, sit down to eat, you know. I take my first bite, like, what the heck is this stuff? I'm like, I didn't like anything. Not even the sweet rice. I'm like, man, I can't do this. Oh, man. All right, I'm going to be a devotee. I guess I'm going to have to learn to eat it, you know. I have to learn to eat it. So that was my beginning, was like that. I remember meeting, I know who it was, some devotee I knew from back. He told me many years later, he says, you know, I always thought you were going to bloop. I can't believe you made it. Because you didn't like anything. You didn't like anything. I can't believe you stayed a devotee. I said, I knew the material world was hell. I wasn't going back to that crap. That was for sure. I knew that much. So